Mark. Mark's doing his best impression of Superman at the dentist. Um, there's no absolute comics this week, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at a couple other issues that came out this past week. Actually, pretty much just about everything else that came out this week at DC because it was a week 5. So we'll do all of that right after this. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. Hit that like button, the thumbs up. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. So Superman looks like he forgot to take out that little plastic thing that they put in your mouth at the dentist to keep your mouth open.
He just woke up, his retainer's still in.
Okay. So yeah, it was a week 5 for DC. There were no absolute comics this past week, so we figured we'd take an opportunity to just kind of catch up on some other things that are going on in the DC universe. And we picked two great comics, I think.
Yeah, DC picked 2 great comics to put out because both of these comics represent like a large patch of storytelling happening at DC that's kind of so big it's standing on its own right now.
Exactly. So we're going to take a look at Green Lantern number 19 and the Superman Lex Special. Let's start with Green Lantern number 19, Jeremy Adams' latest issue. It is he continues to build and expand on the Green Lantern mythos.
Yeah, and it's great that he's also writing multiple books finally because he's kind of tying them in right at the beginning of this as well.
Exactly. If I didn't know any better to start off, I would say that the a mini tetracide, a tetraling, was attacking in Hub City. But yeah, we get to the we start off with the JLA battling a. Let me go ahead and do that.
Tell me that's not a quiet homage to Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, number 28.
Yeah,
Brave and the Bold, number
yeah,
28.
the JLU fighting a giant kaiju from the depths of the sea in Hub City, asking, "Where's Aquaman?" These things keep popping up left and right.
Right. And it's being narrated at the start anyway. It's being narrated by Star Sapphire, who's kind of going through and telling, looking at. She's new to the superhero world. She's been a supervillain, but she's new to working with superheroes, and so she's kind of just observing as things are going along. And we see how the teamwork is going along. We see Wonder Woman, Superman, Black Lightning. We see lots of different heroes working different things to battle against this kaiju, like you said. And then we get she basically creates a construct of a net to hold the whole thing down.
Yeah, they're attempting to keep it from leaving the beach and getting to the population, and ultimately she slows it down, and Hal shows up and helps with the assist with moving it back out to sea.
Right. We get a quick little thing of the yeah. That's a great
super great page.
We see them talking. We see Hal and Carol talking off to the side a little bit. Setting up a time to meet later on, and then we get the Trinity kind of talking among themselves, and Superman kind of needling Batman, saying, it just kind of it kills you to see Green Lantern happy. It doesn't see Hal happy. And
they're contemplating if them flirting, fraternizing on the job is going to be a problem.
Right.
Old grumpy Batman.
Yeah, it gives a little boom. We then switch back to Hal, and we go back to the Watchtower. Hal and Carol are having more discussions about everything that's going on.
Kind of like specifically their place in the order of events happening right now. She's busy with the Justice League Unlimited, and he's got a lot going on in space and talking about their directions they're going.
Right. Hal fills Carol in on all of the stuff going on with Nate, who, if you remember, is Carol's former fiance, who she jilted at the altar in Las Vegas, and he became basically Sorrow. He is the embodiment of Sorrow, who stole what he thinks is the Book of Oa. But it was actually a copy that guy made from in the last issue.
Yeah, to catch people up, the spectrum is fractured. All the central power batteries are destroyed, and people experiencing extreme emotions are manifesting what would be powers of ring holders. Without these central batteries to maintain and control it, it's out of whack. And Sorrow, being an unpure gray lantern, is attempting to destroy it all. And he's filling Carol in on all of that, which is teeing off a lot with Green Lantern.
Right. Within the Book of Oa. Hey, Finn. Finn? Oh, sorry. Couldn't see who that was. What's going on? How are you?
What?
He said, "How are you?"
Good.
That's good. Excellent. We basically see again in the Book of Oa why they believe Sorrow stole the Book of Oa is because within the Book of Oa is the ability to create a central power battery, and the feeling is that if they create a central power battery based on Sorrow, that it will even further fracture and maybe even kind of eternally destroy the emotional spectrum that's out there. So,
yeah, no good, no bueno.
Exactly. Nice hat, Fred. Hey, monkey. We go back to the armory, and we see somebody messing around within in the armory, and someone who is looking for a ring, and we come to find out that it's actually Odyssey, the Time Bandit. And they basically knew that she would be that she would be looking to steal that. And as soon as she realizes that they had already taken her ring, that's when Kyle Rayner showed up.
Yeah, asking her to chill out. We could actually use your help right now. A little back and forth. He shows her that he's got her Legion ring and gets her to slow down long enough to listen by way of wrapping her up in a construct.
Right. We switch down to Australia. We find this huge crater that is there. Kyle flies down along with Odyssey, and coming out of this crater is Connor Kent, Superboy. Yes, talk about a thirst trap. So,
immediately getting Odyssey's attention and playing right back to the 90s Superboy stuff with the heartthrob hitting on the ladies kind of thing. It was definitely a thirst trap, but super on brand for how Connor was for a long time.
Exactly. At one point, Kyle has to tell Odyssey, close your mouth. It's embarrassing. So they continue to talk. Connor basically, Kyle apologizes for Connor, and all she basically says that, he's interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, so basically starting to recruit a few people that can kind of have his back, that can go along with them out into the cosmos to go check on this disturbance from Sorrow that aren't initially affected from the spectrum like ring slingers are. So getting his old pal Connor and Odyssey is the start of some side characters being along for the journey that aren't going to be as compromised as ring bearers.
Correct. They take off in a spaceship, which they actually basically make a point to say that the AI is not there anymore, which is interesting because one of the reasons why I think it's interesting is because this particular ship and the AA part was first introduced in the Green Lantern animated series that Jeremy Adams actually was a writer for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that.
Yep. So that I thought was kind of a neat kind of call out. We switched to the Castle of the Dead.
I forgot about that, dude, till you said it.
Yeah.
Like when Hal was setting out, this is your partner for this whole series, is this ship. Go meet it. Meet this ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That completely went right by my head when I read this.
Mhm. Castle of the Desolate Stone is where we go to next, and we find our newest introduction of a character or characters into the story that Jeremy Adams is playing. We basically see who Sorrow stole the book for and who he brought it to, and it is Starbreaker, who was first introduced in a Justice League of America story way back in the 70s. He basically is like an energy vampire that kind of sucks off of the energy from humans. So, you know,
That's terrible. You can't
exactly,
just go around sucking off humans.
exactly. But it fits in perfectly with the story. With he basically can suck fear or whatever whatever it is. The emotions from people out of what better villain for a Green Lantern story than Starbreaker. So when the emotional spectrum is fractured, we basically find that he's trying to create a whole new core. So we could get we had the yellow core. So back in Jeff Johns again, his kind
So he's
of
going to
Jeremy
sucking
Adams.
everyone off and empowering his own little band of misfits. It looks like
Exactly.
the Starbreaker Corps.
The Starbreaker core. We flash back to Odyssey, and everyone on the ship talking about what's going on. We see Hal is goes it alone, flies down to the planet where he finds several people that are dead.
Yeah, this is where the story sets the tone for what we can expect next with the branching off of the two books. They make a game plan that Hal's going to go this way to investigate, and the core that remains will be going this way to investigate. So now we have our divergence into two titles. The next issue of Green Lantern should be coming out around the same time as issue 1 of Green Lantern Corps. So there's enough characters to give us two books now.
Correct. And we see exactly who it was that caused all of those people to die down on the surface. It is the Red Lantern himself, Atrocitus.
A Red Lantern, a poor citizen of this little whatever place this was that spazzed out.
Right.
They deserved it.
That's not actually Atrocitus,
mad.
I don't believe. I think I misspoke. It is. I don't
Yeah,
believe
it's
it is
just a
actually
random citizen
just a
from this
random
planet.
Red Lantern.
They got mad, and because the emotional spectrum is Fritz,
Right.
he powered up, and that's a tough thing to do unexpectedly, unless you're Sinestro.
Right. Exactly.
Then go punch out Mogo. What's crazy?
So sets up, like you said, sets up the next issue or issues very well, and is continuing even as it's setting up what's going on next. It's continuing to expand and expand and expand. What's going on in the Green Lantern world. So he's almost 20 issues in, and he is still world building, which is great, or mythos building, however you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Both.
Right.
Yeah, he's doing it all.
Then we go to Superman Lex Luthor Special. If you recall, at the end of Absolute Power, there's the I think you have a cavity Superman. At the end of Absolute Power, Lex Luthor was basically left with amnesia, and he basically is so he doesn't know anything in his past. And he is much more, for lack of a better term, docile than he would have been had he not had amnesia. So he doesn't remember anything that he's done. He doesn't harbor any ill will towards Superman or anybody else.
And he's happy like this. He's happy knowing, having learned about who he was. He's happy knowing that he's not that person. He thinks the old him sounds like a terrible person.
Right, exactly.
Everyone's been cool with letting him just kind of chill,
Yeah. We flash. This story flashes back and forth between the past and the present, and we start off again. Even on the very first page, we have a couple of flashbacks, a couple panels where we flash back and then flash.
Yeah,
forward.
we have Lex's daughter bringing him a piano to get him to play because music has ties to your soul and your memory, and she's trying to potentially find ways to help him remember. And so it's him with the piano, flashing back to his time as a child with his mom, learning to play the piano, and his dad being a terrible person, thinking it's a waste of time making him soft.
Right, exactly. We flash forward to Superman, who has it's a great double page spread, isn't it?
Yeah, just doing work. Mr. Terrific calling in saying, "Hey man, you busy? I got a question I need to run by you. Need some help."
Right. And so after he finishes what he's doing, he goes to the Watchtower. He talks with Mr. Terrific. We get some explanation from Mr. Terrific about exactly how it goes back to when Darkseid suddenly appeared at the Watchtower in the All-In Special and then died, and the creation, yeah, exactly, died. We get the create. There's a sense of that something there's something created somewhere. There's another world somewhere.
Yeah, the Alpha world is what they
right.
detected. They named it the Else world. It's
Right.
outside of time and space, and they're unable to fully access it at all. And Mr. Terrific apparently was working on it with Lex Luthor. Now that Luthor went brain dumb after the House of Brainiac, he's asking Superman, "Yo, is there any chance of getting his brain back? Because we got to pick up our research."
Right, and for lack of a better term, we have Mr. Terrific, who is obviously like the second smartest person in the world or whatever.
Behind him,
I don't remember now that you say that.
I don't either. That's what I was wondering.
But they've said it before, right? He's like the second smartest person in the world, right?
Yeah, he's top tier.
Yeah, exactly. So he's looking for someone because of the nature of the Elseworld. He's looking for someone who is almost as smart or just as smart, but looks at things from kind of a negative or type of a stance, and that's where he says to Superman, the person I really need is Lex Luthor. We get we get a one page that shows kind of the greatest hits of Lex Luthor. We see him in his suit. We see him
refining kryptonite, fighting Superman, being the president.
President Luthor. We see him. Looks like he looks like he's standing at the desk in the Legion of Doom. At the podium for the Legion of Doom and everything. We see him behind bars. So kind of a quick best of hits of Lex Luthor.
Best of Lex Luthor, worst of humanity.
Exactly. We then find him in the park, walking along the
He's walking around eating ice cream with Mercy, just
exactly with Mercy, right? Who reminds him that she wasn't hired. How did she say it? It's like ice cream breaks are not part of your job, Mercy, and it's like it's not why you hired me. That's for sure. But as soon as he starts talking, we then flash back. We see him playing the piano as a child again. We see Lionel, who I'm very happy to see that they basically have the art style of Lionel is basically the Lionel from Smallville. That's what he looks like.
John Glover.
Yeah, John Glover. And we see his mother encouraging him playing, but his father again basically saying, this is a waste of time. You need to stop. This is not what you should be doing. And her telling Lionel, our son is gifted. There's like, then he can bring home some money, put him to work.
We flash back forward to the park, and everyone's just throwing ice cream at this guy. Like he can't go anywhere because of his old ways. And he's pretty cool. He's accepting of the way people view him. He understands full-heartedly how he used to be, and it's just showing us why he's happy not being that person anymore. And he's saved by Superman. Even from the smallest thing, Superman's so willing to save him. Everyone apologizes to Superman when he flies down and tells him to stop throwing ice cream. And he runs the idea of trying to remember by Lex, and Lex don't want nothing to do with it.
Right. Flashback again. We see Lionel and Lex talking, and he's asking to go downtown because he needs a battery because he's making a sound device that can send music into space. Signals that only some people can hear. That's very important because that'll come up a little bit later in the story.
He told Lionel, "I made it for you," trying to impress his dad after the outburst about the piano.
Right. Back to Superman and the current Lex, talking again about things that are going on, and basically it all comes down to Lex saying, "Do you believe the world is a better place with Lex Luthor in it?" And then he's really not wanting to fight for his memories whatsoever. And that's when Superman seems to kind of relent and say, you know what, Lex, you're right. You should have the ability basically to be who it is you want to be, and that he shouldn't be pushing him. Um, and we flash back one more time. We see Lionel screaming in his home, probably to his wife, but
He's a freak.
Lex can hear him. He's a freak. He can never be allowed to leave the house.
No kid that age should be able to build that. I couldn't do it. How is he able to do it? He's a freak.
Right. He can never
Talking
leave
about
the farm.
The little device that he just made to impress his dad, based on his own dad. He can't win for losing. It just shows the terrible nature of his dad and the horrible upbringing Lex went through growing up. And he runs out into the cornfield with his little device, crying, and sits down out there and points it at the stars and turns it on, and the radio wave melody starts emitting through the air.
Right. And we see then we switch to funny enough, we switch to a farm, another farm, where we see this small baby crying, and we see these two parents that are saying, we got to try to stop him from crying, but we can't take him to the doctor. There's no way we can do that, type of a thing. And then suddenly, little baby hears the music and causes him to stop crying.
Yeah, and this peaceful sound puts him right to sleep. Right. And they state it's a miracle. Right. Which is fantastic, because we cut right back to present time, and Lex, it's nighttime. He's in his tower by the piano, pondering out the window in silence, looking at it, clearly weighing his options of, should I attempt to try to remember? Do I want to be that old terrible person? What's it worth? And he sits down at the piano, and then we cut back to Superman and Lois,
right, who are flying around, and then suddenly Superman hears this music. And it stops him dead in his tracks, and he basically says, "I can hear that. I can hear that music. I remember it from something." And then suddenly, out of nowhere, he remembers exactly where he remembers it, and that's when he realizes that Lex remembers.
Lex got his memory back. Right. Mr. Terrific calls Superman, and he's like, "What's wrong? Nothing. I got a message direct from Supercorps. It's designs for a new kind of transmitter. It sends sound wave over multiple vibrations. I've never seen anything like it. It's going to take some time, but with this tech, I think we can find a way to communicate with the other world. This is huge. Did you not know?" So Lex not only remembers, he already sent in to Mr. Terrific what Mr. Terrific wanted. So this is huge for couple big reasons. Not just Lex has his memory back, status quo stuff with comics. It's fun having good guy Lex not remembering, blah, 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 blah. But in terms of the absolute universe comics, this is literally the setup that they'll use for down the road, having the ability to reach the absolute world in some way, shape, fashion, or form, which is important because Booster Gold is still lost over there. Mm-hmm. They sent him that way in that All-In special. So that's a huge step forward for the overarching DC continuity too.
Right, exactly. And in regards to just Lex, he has his memory back. Does he still have all of his motivations? Does he remember everything from when he lost his memory to now, and and everything that happened then? And so
is his malice stored in his memories? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Weird. And if so, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Does he? Yeah, he sent everything to Mr. Terrific, but tomorrow does he try to shoot Superman with another kryptonite bullet, or what does he do?
Hire someone to do it.
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't get his hands dirty like that.
I didn't do it. I didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah. So small week for DC, but two really great and important parts of the building for the DC universe.
And if you're collecting Superman, if you're reading it regularly and thought, "Well, I'll set out this special," this is literally just the next issue. I don't even know why they named it a Lex Luthor Special or whatever. It was literally just the next issue.
Yeah, exactly. It could have just been Superman 21 or something, right? Which is where I think it says it. Going to
maybe they should have done like an issue ago or
Superman
something.
Superman 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or they could do what they do like in Marvel, and they could have made it 23.1.
Yeah, no, but it was fantastic. It was cool getting the Dan Jurgens cover, all that good stuff.
Eddie Barrows did the cover, I think.
Did he?
Eddie Barrows, yeah.
Eddie Barrows, yeah, did a cool little cover.
But that's going to be it for this edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget the notification bell. Leave hit the like button and leave us a comment. Let us know how you're doing. How are you liking DC? It seems to be hitting on all cylinders right now, and hopefully that will continue into the future. So, but I am Paul. He is Mark.
But we are Legion.
And you're now living Sector 2815.